protection, nobody's there, and then they're the ones to blame for not protecting you. But you've already created a condition to where your protection is no longer my priority. Because once you turn me from the masculine function into the feminine aspect, then you are no longer a priority to me. I'm a priority to myself. And so when I see you getting into an altercation in the street, you know what I do? I pull out my phone and I record you instead. But meanwhile, decades ago, the first thing, as soon as a man saw something, he was running across the street ready to kill another man. This is not nothing new. What I'm saying is not anything new. It only feels new because we've adopted the current concept that's been given to us by a people who never respected family in the first place, who never respected the black man and the black woman in the first place. Let me go to this one last thing. Since all women are equal and women are your sisters, when you look back at the contemporary history of this country, when did you as a black woman, when did women get the right to vote? 1920 was the official time that all women got the right to vote. Did that mean black women got the right to vote? No, because you didn't get the right to vote until the 1960s. So what am I saying? You have never been a priority or never been anything in the eyes of these people who are giving you these foundations, who are giving you these movements. You've always been a second, third, fourth thought. Today, you are given certain levels of priority. You know why? Because you've already been separated from your man. You've already lived without him for so long, but yet you're forgetting that every single thing that has allowed you to live without him was provided from men. The fact that you could not have a job, but I still make sure you have an apartment and you have food in your fridge, that was provided by white men. The fact that if you are a go-getter and you're going to school and you're getting all these degrees, guess what? You got hired by white men. You got educated by a white system controlled by men. Every alumni school, every high grade Howard University, even black schools, they're controlled by white men curriculums. If you look at the school boards, if you look at all that, it's white men. So once again, we need to start utilizing intelligence. I know we feel a way, we hear my big mouth saying a whole bunch of stuff and who this nigga think he is and how dare he, and he don't know what I went through, and I'm a single mother and I could do this and that. I get all of that. But right now, I'm talking about the source over the surface. I'm not talking about the surface. I'm talking about the source, and the source will always be Big Mama. The source will always be the nuclear family together. So once you separate that in any way, shape, or form, you will have destruction. Once I reverse the male's role or the female, it don't even matter which one I do, because as long as I reverse one of them, just like any magnetism or any other energy, I'm gonna affect the other one immediately. So whether I'm reversing the male's role, I'm gonna affect the woman's. Whether I'm reversing the woman's role, I'm gonna affect the male. And then in turn, we're gonna affect the generations that come from that defect and distortion. So I just wanted to be clear on that number one, everything that makes you independent as a woman today was created by men, was invented by men, was manufactured by men, was put in place by men, was structured by men. And number two, you have never been a priority or equal to any woman on this planet for two reasons. Number one, you're controlled by a European situation and a European structure that always puts you at the bottom. And then even on a deeper scale, number two, nobody compares to the black woman on earth, period. She is the foundation of all beauty. What makes a woman, let's think about this. We always hear these rappers, these male rappers, who are half of them is funny boys and they paint their nails, they wearing purses now, whatever. But we always hear these male rappers wanting exotic women. Oh, I need an exotic chick. I want an exotic chick. What makes a woman exotic? The fact that she has melanin inside of her. When we look at a beautiful woman, what are we looking for? Full, voluptuous lips. We're looking for a certain curvaceous body. They're still following the template of your beauty. And you don't even see it. So while We're trying to straighten hair. We're trying to blonde hair. They're over there trying to get curls and trying to get tans.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't understand the Black woman has been the template of everything on this planet. She holds the mitochondrial DNA. For those that don't understand what that is the genetic DNA structure that holds every variation of so-called races on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
This is why the darkest African mother can give birth to triplets. One can be an albino,
Mm-hmm.
one could be high yellow, light skin with chinky eyes, and another could be a dark skinned, round eyed boy. And she could give birth from the same womb of 3 different looking races and 3 different phenotypes. There is no comparison to the Black woman. So anytime I find Black women imitating either men or imitating white feminist rhetoric, it upsets me. It upsets me because I know you are the superior and crown jewel of this entire planet. And the reason why you gave birth to me as man is to allow you to remain feminine. Because you made me as your sword, shield, and compass to do all the laborious things that will destroy your delicate body. So now you can go back to fulfilling your passion. You can go back to tapping into your creativity. You can go back to your beauty. You created beauty standards. Every form of makeup, every form of hair weave, we got the nerve to judge women today, all these pro-Black people. We judge women today based on beautification, not understanding that the oldest historical references of beautification came from African women.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Makeup came from African women. Pedicures and manicures came from African women. Hair weaves and extensions came from African women. We're not talking about recently. We talk about going back as far as 3,000, 4,000 BC.
Oh, wow.
So you created everything that makes femininity what it is today. The problem is you've been taken away from that feminine to try to be both all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to be both, you're creating an hermaphroditic, asexual existence, which begins to breed itself into the next generations. And this is why they're trying to teach you to wipe out gender all completely. This is why they're trying to push on you. Everything is a social construct. Nothing has reality to it. It's all whatever you feel, whatever you believe. This has to stop. And unfortunately, this is just the reality. Get mad at me, feel the way you want, that's fine. Unfortunately, the biggest supporters of the current sickness, dysfunction, and distortion of our current reality is women, because they support every movement that comes out that got love behind it. Any new trend that's trending right now gets supported by women. They all make their own money, so they're spending $50, $60 on a Tweety Bird phone case. They're spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on nails that got big jewels hanging from them, which is going back into the Asian community. They are the highest consumers of any other group on the planet. So, we can't ignore these things because it doesn't make us feel good. And I will talk shit about men, and I will say everything that needs to be said about men, no different. Because even though I am a man, I recognize that men have been destroyed and men are completely out of their function and they're out of their design. And I feel for women, because every time I do a consultation, I understand that y'all don't got a lot of good men to choose from. And because of that, you begin to become more masculine in yourself by default, because not because you're choosing to be, but just like the queen said earlier, you got to do what you got to do. You got 2 sons. You need to be a father and a mother. I understand that. But you have to recognize it and raise your feminine magnetism, because guess what? Whenever you raise that magnetism about your true femininity, you will attract a man. The problem is he's not the man that fits the standards that you've been taught today.
Oh.
So if you don't look a certain way, and if you don't agree with certain things, which is not a man's nature, by the way, a man is not supposed to be your girlfriend. I'm sorry. A man is not supposed to agree with everything you do because he's a man. A man is not supposed to feel everything you feel. The only thing a man is obligated to do is understand you. He must have understanding. He must always surrender to how you feel and try to understand how you feel. But he will never be like you, and he's not supposed to be like you. And today, women want this specific type of man that's been given to them as a standard. And when they meet a good man, I mean, he got everything he needs. And as soon as he opened his mouth and say, well, babe, maybe you really should lay off, drinking every night, getting high, and then say, who the hell you think you are? Da, 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 da. My job as a man is to change your environment. My job as a man is to create a structure for you to live by, not for you to survive.
Right.
And today, our focus is survival. Oh, well, my kids got food in their stomach. Okay. Oh, well, I got a roof over my head. We're talking about survival. We're not living anymore. And we're not living for each other anymore either. And this is what I'm addressing. This is what my purpose is here to do, to make you feel uncomfortable. Because when you feel uncomfortable, that's when the true change begins. So yeah, you can block me out, you could silence me, you could turn it off and all this stuff, but you already heard what you heard, and it's in your subconscious. And there's going to be a day, whether it's tonight, tomorrow, or the next day, where you're going to be participating in some nonsense, and you're going to hear my voice in the back of your head while you're participating in something that's against your design, that's against the generations that come from your womb. So I've been the bad guy for a long time, and I embrace being the bad guy. And you know what? This is what's missing from men. Just like my brother just stated, he said, I don't hear this a lot. I don't really, you know why you don't hear it, my brother? Because as soon as a man says anything that goes against the current situation of all of us and women, he's shut down immediately. He's shut down immediately. And he's made to feel guilty about saying anything about it. And then the passive man, which majority of us are today, we just never say nothing ever again. And I know these men because I deal with them on a daily basis. I do consultations on a daily basis. I just don't want the drama, man. I'm just trying to keep the peace. No, you a changer. You are a changer. So when you shut your mouth, when you know something is incorrect, you're sustaining that degeneration.
Yes.
You're not here to be a sustainer, Black man. You're here to be a changer, an innovator. And that's why they make sure they took you from being a principal out of school. They took the male teachers out and left the little funny boy teachers. They took out the male chiefs of police and put the woman as chief of police. This is not an accident. In the last 20 to 30 years, we've seen a huge tip in the scale of the power dynamic within the white system. And it's not the Black man in there. The Black man is still filling up the jails and the graveyards. It's the Black woman being placed in these positions. And because there's no order in her home, and because there's no guideline to look to a Black man for, she's following the white structure. Because I don't care how you feel, and I know y'all not gonna like this, I don't care how women feel, you submit every single day to everything. You submit to your job. You submit to your child's education and where they go to school. If the teacher says that's what it is, then you're gonna yell at that child and say, you better listen to the teacher. You submit to your taxes, you submit to the government, you submit to your assistants, you submit to everything that these people tell you to submit to. But the only thing you find a drastic trigger word and problem is when we talk about submission to the man. Understand, the woman is the submitter, but the man is the surrenderer. So it's not like we're saying, oh yeah, women just submit. No, men must surrender to the woman. And women must submit to the man's knowledge and guidance and leadership. I must surrender to her feeling, her intuition, and her wisdom. So now we got balance. That's what true balance is. When I go, babe, you know what? I know you feel like that. I'm not gonna make a decision without seeing how you feel first. That's a true leader. That's a true dominant man who understands he needs to get the wisdom of his woman to make a decision first. Not a man that goes, well, F what you say. You're just a woman. I'm the man. I make the rules. No, that's a stupid little boy who's playing Knights of the Castle or whatever. A true man will always seek the counsel of his feminine counterpart before he makes a decision. But the woman will always respect and acknowledge that man's design as the one who is in the direction and who is one directioner and who is the leader by nature and design. This is why it's so stressful when you're alone as a woman and you're the only one to blame. Come on, let's not pretend that's not some stressful shit.
Very much so.
When you're the only adult in the house,
yes.
when you're the only mother, and guess what? Everything falls on you. And every time there's a problem with a child, who's looking at you? Oh, she's a bad mother.
Yeah.
Every time a child skip lunch or some nonsense, oh, your mother don't got no food. Every time little tiny stupid things happen, they look at you. You know why they look at you? Because you're alone. Because you are the only one there. And now you are the only one to blame for everything. It's not supposed to be like that. It's not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to be, well, where's the father? Well, what did the father do? How does the father discipline? How does the father do this? Well, guess what? You both now. You both. We both. We everything. That's not how it works. Go on, Erica.
And can we talk about even when you have a father and they don't, and the father may not speak to your child in the manner in which you feel they should, because of course we're nurturers, so we don't, I mean, we're not supposed to cuss out our kids. But when the dad comes and check the son, we get offended. Don't talk to my son like that. We need to get that under control. That's is a true. Definite. When a dad wants to be involved, we also ostracize them from being a father because it doesn't look like what we think a father should look like, because we may not even have a dad, so we don't know what that looks like. That is a big problem for me.
Well, not just that, but remember, you've been doing it alone for so long.
Yeah.
So as soon as somebody steps in and go, first of all, wait, whoa. Your son does A, B, and C. No. That's a young man. Yeah. You need to do 1, 2, and 3. First of all, I was doing this before you came along. You see what I'm saying? So we become conditioned into what is common.
Yeah.
Just because something's common does not make it natural.
Right.
And so that conditioning causes that. And then number 2, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
We live in an age where a man is just the dumbest thing, and everything he says is about trying to control you. No matter what the man does, it's don't let him control you, girl. Don't let him